Welcome back to 5 Acre Farms, guys. I'm Luke. We're still on the breeder pens. So we're almost done. The last video you saw us get the metal on. That was quite the process. But now we're going to work on the concrete. Outside of the concrete, doing a little bit of metal trimming, adding some corner braces or some corner panels just to kind of dress it up a little bit. Once the concrete's done, birds are ready to move in. We're digging these out roughly 5 to 6 inches deep, and then we'll be able to put 1 to 2 bags of concrete in each one. So the metal is buried 5 to 8 inches deep depending on the area, and all the way around, even in between the pins, it's buried. So that way if a chicken gets right up next to it and starts dusting, which they will do, they don't dust a big hole and have access to the other side. The main reason we have the metal in the middle is when we have roosters in here and roosters in there, they won't fight each other because they won't be able to see each other. So that's why there's metal in between, keep the roosters from hurting themselves and fighting each other. These aren't fighting chickens, but if you know anything about roosters, owning roosters, if you have one of them's going to be dominant. So there's a pecking order when it comes to chickens, and the biggest, baddest one will figure out their pecking order. But the metal in between will prevent them from fighting each other. Metal buried everywhere will keep it predator proof, and as well as the concrete. That's the only place something could dig under. Could something dig under this metal? Yes, but they would have to work for a really long time. The biggest thing is having this metal up 30 inches will keep it line of sight. So if a possum or a skunk or a coon comes walking through here and wants to get in, if they can't see into the pen, then they're less likely to try to get into the pen, if that makes sense. Not saying they won't try, but again, we went with chicken wire. I know that's not for everybody, but we have very few coons out here, mostly skunks, possums, hawks, owls, and coyotes. So that's all we have. We don't have big bears and big problems. Snakes occasionally will go after eggs, but other than that, yeah. So we're almost done digging holes here, and then we got 16 bags of concrete. Alright, I got started on a couple of these doors. That's essentially what the concrete looks like there. So when closed, it only has about a 1-inch gap along there. This one's a little bit more because, well, we made the hole a little too deep, but it's still about 1.5 inch gap. And we're just putting it in there, keeping it wet, sloshing it around a little bit, and then using a hand trowel to keep it going. So this is my next one. But we got Scott down here cutting off the lip. So I don't know if any of you picked it out in the last video, but there's a couple. You can see we had to adjust the metal, and we did that because we kind of had to. So to kind of explain, those of you that know construction know you have to square a structure for your roof to line up. And we knew this was going to happen before we put the metal on, so it wasn't like a big surprise. But this coop is roughly squared off of this fence and the back fence. And so, well, that fence corner is not a perfect 90-degree square. So Yeah. I'll be right back. He needs me. So back to what I was saying. We built it off these two fences, and I really didn't have like a 100-foot tape measure to square it, the whole structure, when we put our 4 corner post in. But we didn't want to, if we squared it like to this fence, by the time we would have got down there, we would have had a 2 or 3 foot gap between the fence and the building. And that's just dead space that like chickens could get back in and get stuck or caught, like the ones that free range out here. And I didn't want a bunch of dead wasted space, because you only got so much space out here, might as well utilize it. So we kind of based it off that back fence, got it even with that back fence, and did our best. And you know, each pin, as we got down, we gained about an inch width-wise, and so that eventually would throw the roof off, which we knew that was going to happen. So when we did that, we started off of this edge and worked this way, and it started to throw it at an angle. And so what we did now is measured 4 inches off the front all the way across. Now he's going down the edge with the angle cutting blade, and just putting a straight 4-inch edge off the front. We're going to do the same on the back. We're going to do a straight 4-inch off the back. Because we started going at an angle, it put our overlap to get shorter and shorter in the middle of the 12 and the 10 footer. So to keep that overlap the same, instead of doing 6 inches off the front and 6 inches off the back, we brought it down to 4 inches, so we had more overlap in the middle, so it's more structurally sound. So, and we may go back and put a 2x4 where those two boards overlap, and then put a screw down into them, but that's what we're doing right now. While Scott's doing that, I'm doing concrete. But as you can see, it looks perfect 4-inch off the front. So that's what he's doing. So we're putting a chalk line up here, and then I'll get the level and run a pencil line on there for him to follow.
Out and then in?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they're running at an angle. show you guys real time what's going on here. I'm just going to add water. I'm going to add a healthy amount of water to this hole. Bring the first bag in. Gonna mix it up good.
Is that the measurement on the back, 4 inches?
Yeah. This is where you gotta be a little more precise. Making sure we get all the dry concrete mixed in. Doing it this way so I don't have to shovel it in from a pail or bucket, or you just mix it right in the hole. Alright, I think we got it pretty well all the concrete wet. Pull a little dirt over here. All right. There you have it. Perfect. We got all the concrete done this morning between the doors, or under the doors. We've gotten all the feeders in. We got 40-pound feeders. You guys are new here. We picked those up at the chicken auction just for this purpose. And then I have Jake over here working on the waters. But we're going to move birds tonight. There's still a few small finishing touches that we need to do. So we had to order some more metal to do that. We got some edging for the two ends. But yeah, we got all the excess cut off the top on the front and the back. That took a little while today. Concrete, but that's about it for today. And then this afternoon or this evening, we're gonna move birds here after dark out of the big pen back here, move them into here. They don't have anything going on in here for tonight. They're just gonna have to sleep on the ground tonight. But tomorrow, I'm gonna start working on some coops in here, some A-frames style, just for the winter. But yeah, and then we'll get the nesting boxes, and we'll end up putting the nesting boxes on the front some way, shape or form on the front, so the eggs roll out the back, so we don't have to come in here to get the eggs. Really, the only time we'll have to come in here is to fill their water and their feeder. We're only going to use those 5-gallon waters probably for the next week or so. It's going to start getting cold, so those are going to freeze, and we'll switch over to rubber dishes that we can stomp out when they freeze. And then next spring we'll put in a automatic water system, I think. So anyway, dirt's all clumpy and whatever in here. The chickens will level this stuff out pretty quick and have it nice and clean in here. Then we can start getting the breeds put in here, so that way come February the eggs are fertile and they're breed specific. They're not mixed breeds, barnyard mixes. But I think I am going to move my yellow Goldens into this far pen down here for the time being, until we can get some more of these breeder pens built over here on the south side of the yard. That way they have just a better, right now they're in that Amazon chicken pen, which I don't like that thing in the winter because snow will collapse that. So I think I'm going to put them down here on the end. I have about 40 of them, which it's a 10 by 20. That's plenty of room for those guys. But let's go ahead and fill them up and get the birds going. All right, guys, it's past dark. Got the breeder pens ready to get loaded up, and we are getting them out of the grow out pen where they've been in all summer and getting them into their breeder pens. Some of these, was that a blue partridge brown?
No, it was a
mixed. We have a bunch of mixed chickens or sex links, and then we have all of our breeders. So it's going to take a couple days to sort through the ones that are out running around, but we're going to, that's a lavender Americana.
The chosen one.
The chosen one. So lavender Americanas are one of the chickens we breed from, and let's put that one down in 7, down by the pheasants. So 8 is pheasants. We've already moved some of the pheasants down into 8 yellow Goldens. we're going to put, there's a couple of these different breeds we're going to put together until we can get more breeder pens put together. I just don't want Indio Agantes, those giants. We'll probably put that one down in 7 too, with the lavender Americanas. I know I only have a handful of Americanas and a handful of Indios, so we're going to put those together. My motion light turned off. There we go. We're going to put the Americanas and Indios together, and then we're probably going to put like the Millies and the Seramas together since they're Bantams and we have a bunch of them. And then Polish will get their own because we have a bunch of Polish. We'll just start winging it, but we'll put you in a bunch of time lapse here so you guys can watch us catch birds, move birds, unload birds, all that fun stuff.
My heart rages around like an ocean in my head because there are so many things that I left unsaid. I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that is not reality. If you are echoing around inside these parallel dimensions all alone, now I'll find you in my dreams.
And just like that, we've taken about 6 loads of 4 crates out of the big grow out pen. All of the breeder pens have chickens in them except for number 6. We'll probably end up moving all the silkies into that pen since we have a bunch. And we still have to sort the big barn here because it has like 15 Polish that need to be bred or breeders, along with a bunch of Millies, Seramas, Silkies, and some odd and end chickens. But we do have the yellow Goldens down in 7, so we're going to catch them and call it a night. Our motion light over here. But that's what we're doing. I'll show you guys tomorrow morning what everything looks like. It's the next day, guys. We've gotten birds in pens. So they spent the night in there without any type of coop, but that's what we're doing today, is we're getting some type of coop set up for them. So right now it's just a feeder and water and nothing else. But this one's empty, but we got the Faverolles in there. We have Millies and Seramas in there. And then Olive Acres and French Black Copper Morans in there. And Polish in there and Blue Partridge Brahmas in there. So this is what we're doing. And I know, don't come at me in the comments, but this is a temporary coop setup with roost bars. I'll throw a bunch of hay underneath there. And it's a quick, cheap coop option. And it's still like 70 degrees for the next couple weeks here. So even though it is November, it is hot out. So we're gonna use this, and then don't mind my poison ivy face. It's getting better, I promise. But we're going to use these coops for now to get us through until we build something more permanent. I'm trying to figure out what I want to build that's permanent in here, that's something they won't be able to get on top of. I don't know. I'm working on figuring out what I want to do. I'll probably design something up here towards the front because I am going to put the nesting boxes on the front so the eggs roll out. So I'll probably have some type of coop in here, but that may be a next spring project. I'm running out of time to invest a bunch of time into this project because hunting season's here and we're real busy. So this is just 2 sheets of OSB with 2x4s cut to 36 inches, a foot off the ground. There's 4 of them in there, and you could easily set 4 to 5 chickens on each one of those 2x4s. So 5, 10, 15, 20, essentially 20 chickens can sleep in here. Once they get used to sleeping in this little setup, I'll go ahead and put a door on the front with just a small opening. That way their body heat will stay in there when it starts getting really cold. Chickens in our area do not need heaters, and they're hardy birds. Just get them out of the wind and the rain and they'll be fine. So that's our goal. Obviously they're out of the wind in this building, but if they can have something to where their body heat, they can stay close to each other, and this will work just fine. So again, this is not a permanent solution. This is temporary until we have time to design something more permanent. So, and it gives them something to do besides just having a dirt floor and a feeder and water in here. That's the main thing. Just give them something to jump on, give them something to dust next to, give them something to fly on top of. But we're going to build 6 of these or 7 of these. We're not going to put one down in the pheasant pen because they really don't need one. I do have those little jungle gyms coming from Temu. I got 8 of those coming. So once they get here, we'll assemble all those and put them in here. Give them something else to play on and jump on and mess around in. And then if you got any other ideas of what to put in here to keep them occupied, comment down below what you think chickens like the most to play on, to peck on. I might get some of those pecking blocks that you can buy at the farm store. Just give them something to do in here since they're not free ranging. But this is kind of what we have to do to get purebred hatching eggs. Got to keep them separated from all the free range ones. So, all right, enjoy the time lapse as we start building some more of these.
My heart rages around like an ocean in my head.
Alright, we got all the A-frames done. I had to run Gabby into the vet to get her shots, puppy shots, but Scott and Roxanne finished up the A-frames. So now we'll just get everybody settled in. I think I'm just going to cut some cedar trees down for the pheasants. They don't really use roosting bars, so. But we do have this open pen. I think we're gonna fill with silkies and go from there. So if we have time tonight, then we will try to catch a lot of these free-ranging chickens out here that are running around and start sorting all them. The ones that are gonna be breeders, we're gonna put in the breeder pens, and the rest we're just gonna keep back to sell in the spring, or take to the auction, or just use as egg layers. So a lot of barred rocks and sex links out here, and a lot of roosters like Easter egg roosters, Americana roosters, barred rock roosters. We got a bunch of roosters we don't need. Seramas, Polish, but we're gonna keep everything that's purebred out here that's been hanging out in the barn. We're gonna get them put into the breeder pens, and then these guys are completely done. Like I said, I got their little jungle gym coming, so once we get that here, we'll put those together. And then we got a little bit of corner trim we're waiting on. We got to get that put up, And then I still need to put wires on the door handles here, or on the latches, so when you get locked inside you have a way out. I can reach through and get it, but nobody else can. I got long fingers, I guess. But if we catch chickens tonight, I'll film it. If not, the next thing we'll film will probably be the corner trim and the jungle gyms. So, hope you guys are enjoying. Alright guys, it's been like 2 weeks since you've seen me last working on the breeder pins when we built those A-frames. Maybe it was last week. I don't know, we got really busy with our hunting business. And we were waiting on the metal trim. We ordered the metal trim from our local hardware store, and it finally came in. Now we finally have 2 hours to put it on before we gotta get back and feed clients and get back to the hunting business. But after the metal trim, we should be pretty well, we have nesting boxes, which will be a whole separate video. But we'll wrap this video up here when we get this metal on. And we got Caitlin in the video. She's got to collect eggs because everybody wants eggs. And this time of year, everybody stops laying eggs. Not completely, but slows way down. So that's what we're doing today, is getting this metal up. Come on, buddy.
Huh?
Come on, buddy. You need me to push on you? See, that's all you needed, was a little bit of love. Just a little bit of love, that's all you needed. We did get 3/4 of an inch of rain the other day, which was a nice test to check on the new pins. There wasn't any major leaks that I saw. All the pins stayed dry. Didn't have to worry about messy pins or nothing. So that was nice. So far, I haven't had any issues with them. Oh, Caitlin went in without shutting the door. Almost had some escapees. This door is, I need to pull these screws out, move them a little bit, because this wood is drying out, this treated timber. Still closes, but as it's drying out, it's starting to open up just a little bit, which we knew was going to happen. So, but that's the only pin that we have that problem with. Easy fix. So there you have it, guys. Got the top trim done. That's just to help protect the wood. Instead of having water or metal hanging over this side, since we have predominantly southwest winds, obviously we have the barn here, but that'll help the wind from hitting you know, say we overhung the metal 6 inches, the wind would just sit there and beat it and essentially tear the metal where the screws are. So this will help keep the water off the 2x6 here. And then it'll obviously, having this down here will help keep water from getting into that corner. And it just, that's more of a looks thing down there, just to kind of cap off the end pieces. It'll also help if we're walking by or something, it keeps us from snagging our pants on it and so on. But nope, that really cleans up the edge. You're gonna do the other end, and then it's time for nesting boxes. It's just about complete with this whole deal, which is crazy to think that we really just kind of started it a handful of weeks ago. But having Scott and Roxanne here is a big help. They're back for the winter. Let's head down to the other end. Well guys, we're finally done with the build. This last video has been like a 2-week process because we're in our busy time of the year with our hunting season. It's finally cold now. I'm dressed like it's not summer. And the breeder pins, I'm happy with them. So far they're functioning good. We got the A-frames in all of them. We've switched out from the 5-gallon waters to the rubber dishes now that everything's freezing. But until the spring, when we set up an automatic water system. But the feeders are working good. All the hens in there are doing good. I got jungle gyms to build and hen gear nest boxes to put up. I told you guys hen gear was going to come in clutch here. So we'll have a whole video on the hen gear boxes, hopefully here in the near future when I have time to build the last one, so I can walk you guys through how easy it is to assemble a hen gear nest box. But this is the smallest hen gear nest box they make. Hengear.com. You'd code 5Acre Farm 15, save yourself $20. A lot of you guys watching have used that code, save some money. But if you want to get a nest box for your loved one or whatever for their coop here for Christmas, now's the time. So go ahead and get that ordered. But we got to get those put in and build their little jungle gyms, and then these guys will be set until we decide to figure out what we want to do for their permanent housing inside the coop. But yeah, sorry it's taken so long to put this video together, but like I said, we are busy, and who knows when the next video is coming. I'm trying to get them out to you when I can. But yeah, thanks to you guys for sticking with us through this build process. It's not over yet. Who knows, we may add a couple more along this fence. So anyway, you know the deal, guys. We love you. Don't haggle with your egg supplier. Buy your chicks local, and we'll see you guys on the next one.